Oi, pessoal. Tudo bom? Vamos lá, time, dá um tchauzinho para o pessoal para a gente começar. Bom, vamos lá. Treinamento dos veteranos. Bem-vindos ao nosso treinamento ao vivo, nosso primeiro treinamento online ao vivo. E vou começar dizendo muito obrigada a vocês, muito obrigada pelo voto de confiança que vocês tiveram com a Cidadão Pró-Mundo, por terem permanecido no ano passado, por terem continuado esse ano. Muito obrigada. E eu espero de coração que essa nossa conversa de hoje, embora breve, embora a gente quisesse estar conversando presencialmente, seja produtiva. Tá bom? Vamos lá? Pode projetar o slide aí, gente. Nosso Welcome Catch-up Meeting. Aí a nossa agenda é bem enxuta, é uma abertura rápida, né, só para a gente falar as novidades, né, do que a gente está pensando para esse próximo semestre, um bate-papo com a Su, que vai trazer muitas coisas que foram trazidas por vocês nas pesquisas de satisfação, e aí o nosso encerramento. O que fizemos em 2020, pessoal? Claro, não pode deixar de faltar, a gente conseguiu de novo o Melhores ONGs 2020. A iniciativa dos melhores ONGs, gente, com certeza vocês já sabem disso, né? A gente fez questão de divulgar para Deus e o mundo aí que a gente novamente ficou entre as 100 melhores ONGs do Brasil. Não sei se vocês sabem, a iniciativa ela é encabeçada pelo Instituto do Ar, pensando em destacar ONGs do terceiro setor, tanto que para servir de inspiração, como para mostrar para a sociedade, né, um trabalho sério que vem sendo realizado por essas ONGs. Então, para eles avaliarem, fazerem essa listagem de ONGs, eles levam em consideração coisas como governança, como planejamento, como comunicação e prestação de contas. Então, assim, a gente ficou muito feliz de ter esse reconhecimento novamente, porque, de fato, a gente trabalha bastante para que a Cidadão Pró-Mundo esteja sempre em patamares de excelência em todas essas áreas, né? Em especial na transparência, na governança, nos processos. Então, é uma felicidade muito grande, é um incentivo muito grande num ano como esse, que não foi fácil, né? Ter recebido esse prêmio. Não só recebemos esse prêmio novamente, como fomos consideradas a melhor ONG na categoria educação. E isso, assim, de fato, foi uma super surpresa. Eu estava assistindo no dia a premiação e estava lá nesse momento pandemia fazendo um monte de coisa ao mesmo tempo, no chat com o pessoal do trabalho, com uma tapioca na panela ali, quando eu ouvi o anúncio do Melhores ONGs de Educação, e assim, eu até me emociono de lembrar, porque eu dei um grito, e aí deixei o pessoal do trabalho no vácuo, queimou a tapioca, porque foi muito emocionante. E é um reconhecimento em dobro, né? Porque é a causa que a gente acredita, é o motivo pelo qual a gente está aqui, e é o campo no qual a gente sabe que consegue, de fato, fazer a diferença na vida das pessoas, né? Então, muito obrigada, porque todo mundo faz parte dessa conquista. E estivemos em 2020 100% online, né, como vocês viram, graças a todo o trabalho de uma equipe muito dedicada de voluntários do pedagógico, coordenados pela Su, do pessoal de TI, da Luciene e Gessé, que desenvolveram para a gente um modelo assim, excepcional, muito bem avaliado de ensino remoto. Não foi uma transposição da aula comum para o modelo online, foi, assim, de fato, um novo material com base em conhecimento que eles foram buscar em qual é a melhor forma de fazer o ensino remoto. Então, assim, o negócio ficou incrível. A gente teve o apoio da Cambridge também, e de ferramentas como o English Central. E permaneceremos online nesse semestre. Vamos ver como vai ser mais para frente. A gente também conseguiu fazer eventos, então foi muito legal. Esse foi um parabéns aí para o pessoal de eventos que conseguiu se unir e trazer para a gente eventos mais unificados, aproveitando desse momento online. A gente teve happy hour, A gente teve roda de conversa com alunos da CPM, bem legal, né? A gente teve aquela conversa com o Laurent Kebab, que é o ex-CFO da Louis Vuitton, que também foi legal. Gincanas de Halloween, que também foi bem interessante. Essa foi boa aí. Tivemos guest speakers. E a gente também teve alguns eventos com parceiros, né? A gente teve aquelas apresentações da McKinsey, que também foram muito legais. Então, assim, a gente soube aproveitar bem o momento online para não deixar cair a peteca, né, gente? Então, assim, agora que a gente está um pouco mais acostumado com esse modelo online, a gente espera que esse semestre continue sendo um sucesso. E para falar um pouco de números, eu vou passar aí para o Arthur falar um pouquinho e dar um oi para vocês também.
Olá, pessoal. Bom dia, tudo bom? Obrigado pela presença de todos aí. Vi que tem quase 300 pessoas aí que já estão online. Muito obrigado por estarem aí com a gente. Acho que esse evento vai ser bem mais curto do que o que a gente está acostumado, né, do nosso treinamento central. A nossa vontade era de realmente estarmos todos juntos, né, mas ainda não é algo que é recomendável nem possível aí nesse contexto atual que a gente está. E seguimos aqui no online, né, nesse grande desafio que se iniciou a partir do segundo semestre do ano passado com a nossa implementação, né, do curso 100% online. A gente trouxe aqui, né, alguns resultados antes de passar a bola para a Su, que vai bater um papo aí com vocês, mas a ideia aqui é mostrar como que a gente foi tanto no Qualify, né, que é o nosso projeto de certificação dos alunos, né, tanto no nível B1 como no nível B2, na escala CFR de fluência, né, que vai de A1 a C2, né. Então a gente tem esse projeto rolando aí já faz alguns anos, né. A gente está na terceira turma já, indo para a quarta turma, e a gente tem tido resultados que são similares ao de escolas particulares, na verdade. Foi uma validação assim de algo que a gente sabe, né, que faz um tempo já que a gente tem uma qualidade muito boa de ensino, mas que esse tipo de número ele vem como realmente uma validação para nós. Esse número aí é referente, né, à turma que prestou no ano passado. Os últimos números, como a gente teve algumas pessoas que prestaram no final do ano, por conta da pandemia, a gente deixou super mais flexível para os alunos verem quando que eles poderiam, né, prestar, ou se resolveriam somente fazendo ano que vem, enfim, como eles se sentissem mais confortáveis. A gente vai ter um fechamento ainda de 20, que pode ser que venha um pouquinho diferente disso, mas não vai ser nada muito significativo, a gente espera. E muito parabéns ao time que tem tocado isso, tá? A gente sempre gosta de falar um pouquinho também sobre a parte de despesas e de receitas para dar, né, um panorama geral para quem está na ONG. E no ano passado a gente teve abaixo de 300 mil, que historicamente é o número que a gente tem aí de despesas, e a gente teve um custo aluno mês aí perto de R$10, né, que é aquela coisa absolutamente fora da curva, assim, é muito, muito barato, né, o curso da Cidadão Pró-Mundo, enquanto quando a gente pensa no quanto que a ONG gasta para o tamanho do impacto e para a qualidade do impacto que ela tem, né. E a gente sabe que isso é algo que é bom, mas que a gente também precisa ter um pouco mais de musculatura, né, enquanto estrutura organizacional, assim, enquanto ONG. Então, uma das ideias é ter novas contratações, tá? Eu vou falar até um pouquinho mais sobre isso. Então, esse número de total de despesas deve crescer nesse ano de 2021. Mas, né, quem tem despesa, a gente também tem o lado de receitas e doações, né, que é o próximo slide. Então, no ano passado, a gente conseguiu uma quantidade de doações bem superior ao número de despesas que a gente teve. Um percentual disso aí, dessas 623, que é mais ou menos perto de 200 mil desses 620, vieram vinculados a um projeto novo que a gente vai implementar muito em breve aí já, que é o CPM Connect, que é basicamente trazer soluções de conectividade para alunos que estão tendo problemas, né, de conexão. Então, a gente já fez uma série de pesquisas e tudo mais, e a gente está numa fase bem avançada já de conseguir realmente conseguir os computadores e tudo mais e fazer a distribuição disso para os nossos alunos, tá? Não vão ser todos os alunos que vão poder ser contemplados, então a gente tem todos os critérios que a gente tem feito e tudo mais, mas isso é uma parte boa das doações que a gente recebeu no ano passado, né? A gente vai ter as despesas dela para esse ano. E outro número que é muito interessante aqui é essa parte que a gente gosta de falar, que são as gratuidades, né? Então, quanto que as pessoas representam para Cidadão Pró-Mundo. A gente conversa aqui, a gente sempre fala, né, que é uma organização de pessoas, para pessoas, e que é feita mesmo por gente, e aí a gente tenta colocar isso um pouco nos nossos demonstrativos financeiros e tudo mais, né, que é mostrar o que essas gratuidades representam. Então, foi perto de 2,6 milhões aí de reais em gratuidades, que são principalmente trabalho voluntário. A gente sempre faz uma estimativa que é até conservadora, esse número, se você fosse realmente considerar o quanto que a gente gastaria para ter todo o trabalho voluntário de todos vocês, seria um número maior, assim, a gente realmente é conservador e ainda assim dá um número bem grande, né? 2,6 milhão é muito mais do que 600 mil. Eu vou falar um pouquinho também aqui do que a gente está vendo para 21. Tem essa parte mesmo de ampliação da equipe contratada, tá? A gente quer profissionalização tanto no nível da diretoria executiva, né, que hoje eu e a Ká a gente faz de forma voluntária, então ter uma pessoa remunerada full time aí, a gente deve já trazer novidades muito em breve para vocês, boas novidades. E também fazer uma ampliação de algumas áreas estratégicas, né? Por exemplo, indo para o online agora, a gente sabe que TI é essencial, né? Então, a profissionalização de TI, algumas outras coisas também, isso deve rolar esse ano, tá? Outro ponto é a questão de retorno presencial e se ele vai acontecer ou não, né? Tem um monte de variável aí, a gente tem se atualizado constantemente, questão de vacina e como a vacina vai progredir e se vai ser possível ter um retorno presencial já no segundo semestre ou se a gente vai postergar isso para o ano seguinte por uma questão até da rede pública estar com uma dificuldade de conseguir fazer com que o programa do ano passado, que não foi feito, seja dado. Tem uma série de questões aí, a lot of moving pieces, né? Mas a gente está vendo de forma bastante séria isso, e a parte da manutenção da oferta online, né? Então, uma vez voltando o curso, o que vai acontecer? Vai ser um ensino híbrido em que tenha o online somado ao presencial, a gente vai fazer uma oferta que é somente online e aí expandir até para outras geografias que a gente não está. Então, uma série de questões estratégicas que estão sendo debatidas e deliberadas no nível do conselho também, do nosso conselho de administração, que é muito responsável por essa supervisão, né, da parte estratégica e tudo mais, e de como isso está sendo executado, né? E os locais físicos aqui, como eu falei, né, esse é um ponto que a gente está um pouco, a gente já sabe, né, que vai ter essa possibilidade de ter aulas de fim de semana, ou de contraturno, de forma geral, para cumprir o programa do ano anterior, então isso já está no nosso radar de riscos aí, de coisas que temos que fazer, então isso está sendo monitorado também. E por último, o que eu já falei aqui um pouco, explicando aquela questão da captação que a gente teve no ano passado, a implementação desse CPM Connect, que para esse momento inicial aí deve contemplar até 300 alunos, tá? Então, do nosso universo total de alunos, ajudar para quem está com problemas de conectividade, com desktop, com sistema operacional e para quem precisar de internet também, fechando os números ainda bonitinho, mas a ideia é que seja até 300. Agora, né, depois dessa introdução aí, né, um pouco dessa contextualização também dos desafios desse ano, do que está rolando para esse ano e de como a gente está animado também, né, com os desafios desse ano, chamar aqui a nossa querida Su. Antes disso, eu queria agradecer todo mundo da equipe que trabalhou muito nesse treinamento e que tem trabalhado demais nos últimos meses. Acho que a gente não fez esse agradecimento ainda, então queria deixar agradecimento para a Thaís, para Lucas, Gabi, para os voluntários também envolvidos, então Camila de comunicação, Luciene, são muitas pessoas, né? GSEC ajudando a TI, a Su e a toda a equipe pedagógica, equipes também das unidades, vocês todos foram absolutamente incríveis. Eu falo que eu sempre me surpreendo com a CPM, me surpreende mais uma vez pela qualidade, pela dedicação, pelo amor envolvido, é sempre incrível mesmo. Dito tudo isso, agora chamo a Su aqui para falar com vocês sobre esse semestre, sobre os desafios que temos, né? E acho que a Sul também é animada também para esse semestre que está começando. É isso, gente. Obrigado.
Mute. Okay. I am assuming that everyone can hear me. I am not muted and my video is going. So I think that everything is going okay. And we have 40 minutes to talk about a bunch of stuff that we all need to talk about together. I would like to make sure that if you, as we go through, write your questions and comments in the YouTube chat box. And if there's time at the end, then we will be able to get back to you about it. And if we don't have time today, we're going to do it during the week if there's something urgent that comes up that needs to be addressed. All right. First of all, I cannot stress enough how hard last semester was and how proud I am of everybody at CPM. And that really mostly includes the teachers, because this time, last semester, none of us knew how it was going to be. There were so many questions. What are we doing? How's it going? Is it even going to work? What is happening? And you guys were incredible. Teachers were the ones who stepped up and just, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's make this work. And it was an incredible semester. And I cannot thank you enough for the time and the worry and the anxiousness and everything that you did so that our students could keep learning. And it did happen. They did keep learning, and it was a good semester. All right. Beyond CPM surviving the pandemic, because we started off kind of thinking, as everyone did, oh, this is only going to be 2 weeks. Remember that back in March? This is only 2 weeks. Then April came along. Well, okay, by June, everything's going to be okay again. And now here we are. Starting about 1 year later, nearly 1 year later, and we're sort of still in the same place, but with hope of the vaccine and things getting cleared up. A lot of organizations that I have seen have had to basically stop everything, stop doing what they do, or slow down. We managed to, maybe we didn't go faster or anything, but I think I'm going to point out a few areas where CPM grew, where we grew this semester, okay? The first one is that all of us, from me to you and Karini and Artur and everybody, learned to teach online. I had never done this before. I remember in the first semester talking to a friend who works at graded school here in Sao Paulo, the international school, and her telling me how she did it and thinking, wow, we're never going to do that. That is so fancy. Wow. I'd never heard of Zoom before the pandemic started, much less Google this and Google that. So we all learned to teach online, and you put your faith in the system, and it worked. And it was really, really wonderful. We started the semester perhaps a little bit like this guy. And then during the semester, I think we all had moments, with any 5-minute period during the semester, we felt all of these things. Okay. And then by the time the semester was over, on December, I can't remember the exact date, we did it. We made it through this semester. And then I hope you did what I did throughout December and January, which was to look exactly like this. I did a lot of sleeping, and we were really, really, really tired, but I feel better now. I feel like ready to go. Let's go. So it's all pretty good. So one of the things is we learned to teach online. Another thing we learned is a term, the flipped classroom. We never used this term very much last semester. Why? Because it's a new teaching technique that is rather scary. And I remember back in February, Qualify said, we're gonna try to use the flipped classroom. And I was like, because what I understood and what I know of the flipped classroom, it requires a certain amount of thinking. And I'm gonna explain to you what it is. What is that? About 3 years ago, I had some private students, English students at my home, and we had a little group of advanced students, and we started talking about John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy of the United States. And he came up in one of the books we were reading. I don't remember why. But at one point I said, isn't it crazy about his assassination? And they said, why would his assassination be crazy? He died. I said, yeah, he died in November of 1963, but all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And here's a picture of a scene that I showed them. And they're like, oh, yeah, I've seen that picture. Or some of them had. Some of them were young. They've never seen this. And I said, they said, so a guy shot him. I said, yes and no. Yes, somebody shot him, but who shot him? And so we got into a little discussion right at the moment of, first of all, what's Jackie doing on the back of the car there? Everyone thought she was trying to run away. She saw a piece of her husband's brain go on the back of the car, so she got it. Okay, so what happened? And so I presented some of the theories because I happen to know this stuff. Was it Lee Harvey Oswald, one guy in the book depository back there? Why did everybody start running that way after he died? Why did they run that way? Because they thought that there was somebody over there doing the shooting. So why? And then they were told, no, turn around. Nothing happened here. But we saw, no. Did it involve the mafia? A lot of theories say that the mafia was involved. Did it involve Cuba? Why did Cuba want Kennedy dead? Did the mafia and Cuba work together? Did the Cuba and the CIA work together? What about the vice president? Lyndon Johnson, was he involved? Okay, so I basically assigned every student a theory and said, go home, read about this theory. We don't have time now. Go read about it. You can read about it in Portuguese. You can watch videos. You can talk to your friends. You can do whatever you need to do. Learn your part of the theory. Your Cuba, your mafia, your CIA, okay? And they did, they came back. We ended up spending 4 weeks studying about the Kennedy assassination. And we got, because it was a flipped classroom. Basically, I said, go home and do the work, come back, present to the class your theory, come back and present what you were supposed to present to your class. And it was amazing. We all learned so much. Our English improved. It was amazing. That is a flipped classroom. Okay, here's an image, an official image of what the flipped classroom is. Basically, students prepare before the class. Okay, then they come to the class where the teacher facilitates their learning. Okay, where I would listen to their presentations about the Kennedy assassination, ask a few questions, others would ask questions, everybody asked questions, and move it forward. Now you're going to do this. Now you're going to, okay, and they go home and do some homework about the things that they didn't know and come back and be prepared to talk about it. Okay, that is the flipped classroom. In CPM, what is our flipped classroom? It was exactly what we did. Pre-class, learn the vocabulary, learn this, learn this, learn this, learn this, learn the grammar. We started putting grammar videos so that they could learn the grammar in advance with Brazilian YouTubers quite often. Great, perfect. It was really good. They get to the online class in theory, prepared and excited to be there. Okay, didn't always happen, but the theory was that if you've seen it in advance, by the time you get to your online class, you're excited, you're ready, you want to see how it happens in the class, and then you go home and do your homework. While they're doing their homework, the next pre-class comes in and they start over. Okay, it was a hard semester. It was hard to explain that. We still have videos that are explaining that, but it worked. We did flip the classroom. So when you're doing your CV, your resume, and what do I know how to do, you can say, I know how to teach online, and I know about the flipped classroom. I can teach in a flipped classroom. Yes, I can. Okay, you don't even know what a flipped classroom is. Yeah. So you can be really smart and talk about the flipped classroom because you know what it is and you've done it. Okay, so we grew that way. Another way that we grew is that we all used the same methodology. Okay, and some of you who know me go, okay, here she goes. She's going to talk about the teacher's book, but it's true. Some of the students, so one of the comments in the survey that we got, and it was in Portuguese, but it said, I wish we had training in how to put together classes and understand what we're doing. Okay, that was one of the comments. I wish we had training in how to put together classes and understand what we're doing. Okay, you know me. This was our training last year. You know me. You know what I'm going to say to that, which is use the teacher's book. There is your, right there, that is your training in how to use the material, how to put together classes, and how to have a great class. Okay. And I know it's boring. She always talks about that. But that's really what I believe. When I travel around the country, I'm an author of English language materials books with Oxford and others. And sometimes I have to travel, and people in small towns sometimes come to big towns. And they do it in big towns, the training. And the people from small towns will say, why don't you ever come to my small town? And I will, because of the financial aspect of it. But I want to tell you that you don't need me to come to your small town, because if you have the teacher's guide, you have the teacher's book, you have pretty much what I'm going to say. Okay. I may be more entertaining or more fun or more English, but it's there. So it's all there. Everything I know how to say, everything I know how to do, it's all there. It's in the introduction and then the class by class instruction. So it's that again. It's me talking about that thing again. Okay. So one question is, I can do additional training on four corners and interchange. I think that it's so important that you understand the book you're using. If you started a turma last semester with four corners, you are going to use four corners every semester until you leave CPM or your students graduate. If you started with interchange, you're going to use interchange until the end. It's in your interest to understand what is the philosophy behind the book. What is the thinking behind the book? Why did they write the book? Who did they write the book for? How is it organized? How is this? How is that? What is this part over here? What is that? I can do a training about that this semester if you would like. However, until that training happens, or if we agree we don't need it, you just read the teacher's book. It's all there. Promise you. I promise you. Okay. So basically, we use the same methodology this semester because the content creators know very well, as we created every slide this semester, those content creators, if you're watching, you know it's true, that I would say, these slides don't make sense. Did you use the teacher's book? And they'd look, and I'd look, and I'd say, no, you didn't use the teacher's book. We have to use the teacher's book. Why? Makes sense. So this semester, because it was sort of a forced on everybody. I was saying this before. I've been saying this for years, but it's sort of forced. We sort of forced the teacher's book on everybody. A standard methodology that all of those slides were put together in the same way, in the same order, with the same thinking. We use the teacher's book, and I'm happy for that. I think that was a huge progress within CPM. I know it wasn't perfect. It wasn't always as fun as, it wasn't always this and that, but it was solid methodology all the way through, that everybody used the same thing. Okay, so I thought that was good. I did. Okay, so another thing that we grew, we tried some new things last semester, some things that we've been wanting to try for a long time, that I've known about, that we've known about. One of the things that we tried was English Central. And I know, I saw in the feedback, yeah, there's complaints that English Central, sometimes it's not exactly perfect. Sometimes it doesn't fit everything that my students in this turma do. It wasn't perfect. Nothing, no product is, particularly when you have something based on authentic language. They get TV commercials, they get TV shows, they get movies, they get speeches, they get all kinds of crazy things. For the most part, they try to base it on authentic language. Authentic language, as a gringa in Brazil, I see all the time. If I walk out onto the street right now, someone could come up to me and say, "Dá licença." And I don't know what that person's going to say. I have no idea. What is the topic of this conversation? It might be off topic from what's in my head, just as some of the videos that we saw in English Central were a little bit off topic from the topic of the book. They tried, and we've suggested to them that we try again this semester, but it might change, it might not change. But we did try English Central and saw some amazing progress. Some students did nothing, and some students did an amazing amount of videos. And I really someday hope to talk to those students and find out how much they helped. I did talk to the director of English Central in Brazil, and I said, can you tell me how well CPM did? Because I feel really embarrassed that they gave us this donation and we didn't use it. Our students didn't go, our students didn't pay attention. We said it's part of your grade, but we can't force them. And the answer that he gave me was, mais que dobro da média, which means the média being private schools, private universities, private students, public schools, anybody in the whole world who has English Central, and schools pay a lot of money for this product to be in their English program. He said, we did mais que dobro da média. So I think that is very, very good. And it also helps because it shows them that we were able to appreciate their donation. And so that made me very happy, I think. Oh, and I have to tell you, the new thing this semester is that we're going to have it for everybody, not just say a Jota. It's going to be all turmas, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and qualified will have their own classrooms, and everybody will have access to 2 English Central videos in their pre-class every week. Of course, you can do more. Anybody can do more. It's going to help you. Any listening, any speaking, any reading, any writing, anything you do in English is going to help you off topic or on topic. Okay, so that was one of the new things that we tried this semester, in addition to going fully online, which was enough already. Another thing that CPM grew with, I think, this semester is that the students grew. Well, I think they did, right? I like to think that they did, that the students got something out of this semester a little bit further than normal. Okay, and how did they grow this semester? Well, it was for some of them, and I taught at João 23 B2. For some of those students who were adults, it was their first time doing an online class. And it went okay. They learned. It wasn't perfect, but it went okay. It was their first time doing an online class. Many of them said, as opposed to going all the way to the unit and stuff and driving in traffic and being on the bus or whatever it was, they prefer the online classes. So it went that well that they were quite happy with that. We did the flipped classroom. You already know what that is because we're all so smart now. They learned by doing the flipped classroom. Why does a student learn with the flipped classroom? I think that by doing their pre-class work, and a lot of students are like, why do I have to do pre-class work before the class? I just want to come to class. Say, well, because in fact, it makes you a little bit more responsible as a student. It makes you be more in charge of your own learning. You know, you have to do this thing. The teachers have to do this thing, and you have to do this thing. Do you want to learn English? If you do, you're not babies that we're going to spoon feed you the English. Your part of it is to do the pre-class, show up for class, and do your homework. And I think that and I want to think that that eventually they will say, if for English this works, what about my history class? What about my chemistry class? What if I look at the book in advance? What if I see, oh, we're going to study this? What if I look at a video about this thing? And maybe this will move into students having more autonomy and feeling more in charge of their own learning, because maybe CPM this last semester was the first time they've ever had to do that. I don't know. We'll find out. English Central, by being forced to watch videos, sometimes nada a ver, like we talked about, just out of the blue, we're going to talk about something. We're going to listen about something. They never know what's coming. English Central was an advance that helped them to learn a new technology and to learn to handle things that they haven't been, like a textbook does, correctly lined up and prepared, and vocabulary in advance. Just that's the real world of authentic talking, authentic speaking. And I do think that it gave them a continued trust in Cidadão Pró-Mundo, in the sense that, as I said, a lot of organizations stopped. First semester for us was a little bit rough because we kept thinking, oh, just 2 more weeks and then we'll be together again. But even first semester, we started with some live events and other things to say, okay, we're still here. We still care. We still love you. And we still have a relationship with our students and with our teachers, and a continued trust that CPM is going to do the best it can, whatever the situation is, to continue to exist and to continue to do its mission and to pass on its values with our students. And I think that did help. And I think that did happen this semester, that they saw we did a pretty dang good set of classes and stuff for everyone. So now, this is part two. Part two. If you ever feel like buying a beer, have you ever been like somewhere and you're like, I have an extra beer. I want to give this beer to somebody. Okay, I'm going to give you some suggestions of who to give the beer to. Okay, when we're ever together again, content creators last semester, these are people, these are our family, like the TV show, This Is Us. Okay. This is our family of people who said, Sue, you might need help putting together the slides. Would you like help? And I said, yes, I would like help. And we had content creators that gave 20 hours a week, in addition to the jobs, families, kids, everything else that they were doing. They gave 20 hours a week, 10 hours, 20 to put together the pre-class, the online class. Okay. So if you've got an extra beer, or next time we meet up, you have 2 pound occasions in your hand, give one to them. Okay. And I'm going to tell you who they are so you know who to give it to. Okay. Okay. Because I love these people dearly, and they gave a ton of time last semester. So last semester, before we get there, we had 145. We put together 145 Google Forms. No, 105 pre-class videos. Okay. Last semester, we put together 276 slides. No, 276 Google Forms together, the homework and the pre-class stuff. It was a total 276 separate forms that we put together, and 12,856 slides. Okay. Because we had 12 groups going, 12,856 slides. We did a lot of work last semester. So here's the people you're going to buy beer for, or pão de queijo, or coffee. Teams D, Paula Mota from Diadema. Everybody has to cheer in your own house, okay? Turma A, Cristina Noronha from Real Parque. Turma B, Leanne Fitch from Real Parque. Turma B, Rubens SP Filho from Capão. Okay. Turma C, Turma D, Turma E would be Magali Santos from Real Parque and Ariane Correia from Capão. Okay. These 2 are going to run for president next time, and you need to vote for them. Vice president, president. I don't know who's who. Turma D was Nilson Rocha from Capão Redondo. Turma E and Turma G, Turma E and G would be Ingrid Lupi from Diadema, together with Tiago Daniel Madureira and Erica Ribeiro Virgili from Real Parque. Then we have Turma F, which is James Ferreira from Tatuapé. Turma H was Veronica, Flávia Veronica do Amaral, neurodiversity qualify. All right. And Turma J, you still holding that beer? You're not sure who you're going to give the beer to? Anybody on this list? Turma J was Carol Chamé from Real Parque. Turma E, Karina Herrera Silva, Monte Azul. Turma E was Nayara Kazai, Real Parque. Turma J, Claudia Lima, Real Parque. We keep going. Vita Castelo from Brás. Turma X was Neuza Barros from Monte Azul. And help getting us started way back in June and July, and whenever we needed help, was Raíssa, Ramon from Brás, Maria do Carmo from João 23, Daphne Badini, Botafogo. Everyone helped. That doesn't include everyone in IT, Luciene and her team. I don't even want to start saying names because I'm going to forget somebody, but Luciene and Jesse, okay? We also had the amazing people who I would contact randomly and say, can you give me 3 hours on Sunday to do a pre-class video? Okay. And so they recorded videos. And finally, we had 10,000 committees doing 10,000 things all the time. There were committee meetings and committee for this, committee for that. Amazing volunteers across the board, working very, very hard to make last semester happen. So if you are holding the beer, coffee, pão de queijo, this is who you're going to give it to. Anybody on this list. Okay. All right. Oh, and if next semester, we are continuing to produce material. Teen C is going to be, no, Teen C, Turma C, that's wrong. Turma C is going to be Cristina Noronha. And then we're doing the same process for Qualify. So Qualify Pet 1 is going to be Ingrid, Tiago, and Erica. Pet 2 is going to be Claudia Lima. And first one, which is B2, Magali and Ariane. Okay, great. Buy the beer. You guys remember at the end of the semester, we did a survey. Okay, we asked you, what did you think? And that's always sort of a bit of a terrifying moment after a long and difficult semester where everything wasn't perfect. We know that everything wasn't perfect. It was a good semester, but everything wasn't perfect. And for the most part, we got positive feedback. Woo-hoo! Everybody was pretty much happy. There was 5 main areas where people had something to say, had a concern, had a worry, had a question, were unhappy. Some were big areas, some were small. The first one, what were they? The first one, oh my God, the homework. How are we going to do the homework? There's no answers for the homework. We don't have enough time to do the homework. We're going to talk about that. Okay. Another one, there are too many slides. Okay. I know. We want to change the slides. Remember those moments? The tests were not an accurate reflection of student learning. I heard that a lot because they were in Google Forms. And finally, we prefer classes the old way together. So let's talk about these one by one. Homework. Okay. We had it in Google Forms, but we didn't supply the answers. You had an hour and a half of class maximum usually. In that time, the students asked you about the homework. My view on the homework was different at the beginning of the semester than it is now. And so the solution is that we will put the answers in the Google form. Jesse is already in Minas Gerais, he's doing it. Putting the answers in the Google form. So when the students do their homework, they're going to fill it out and click, 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 click. What is the answer to this? What is the answer to that? And then when they send it, when they submit it, enviar, right? What will come back is the answers. It'll come back immediately, something for them that says, you got this right, you didn't get this right. This is right, 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 wrong. The only place where this will be tricky is when it's like, what did you have for breakfast? When there's a free question, then students are going to have to write what they can, and that's just how it is. There's no possible choices for that. They're going to write, and then that you might want to check together with them. Another thing is that classes, like we said, can be up to 2 hours long, 2.5 hours for qualify. Okay, so now we didn't know at the beginning of the semester how students were going to handle a 5-minute online class, much less a class that is 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. Turns out we need more time. Okay, we're going to use this extra time for various things. If we were not putting the answers in the Google form, I would say you need that extra half an hour to do your homework checking. But since the answer's already there, that's going to help a lot. They're going to get automatic feedback on their form. But your extra time can be used for the free answers, for the looser answers, for the things they still didn't understand. Use your extra time for that kind of thing. There's other ways that I'm going to suggest you use your extra time, okay? And sometimes I saw at João 23, we had an hour and a half class, everyone was happy, no one was under pressure, and we started talking about something else. And we did, and it worked out okay. We're an hour and 45 minutes. If we need a little more time and everyone's okay, it's okay, I think. You gotta check with your classes and stuff, but try to stick to 2 hours maximum, 2.5 for qualify. Second point, there were too many slides. Okay, yeah, there were. Sometimes there really were. And towards the end, we got better at standardizing how many slides there were. The champion was like 160 slides for one class. I know, that was a lot. Okay, so this semester, we're going to try to edit and standardize them even more. Make sure that there aren't 160. That's just crazy, okay? But not all slides have the same weight. And I said this throughout the semester. Some slides are intended to be looked at and studied and loved. And some slides are treated like flashcards, like you would if in a classroom. If you had a flashcard, you say, what's this? It's a teacher. What's this? You don't have to go to every student in the class and say, what's this? It's a teacher. What's this? It's a teacher. What's this? It's a teacher. No, you go, what's this? It's a teacher. Next one, this. What's this? It's a student. What's this? It's a cat. What's this? It's a dog. So, you move quickly through a flashcard, and you might move quickly through a slide. So not all slides have to be loved and analyzed and given the same weight. Some of them, the intention was that they would go faster and some would go slower. That's why we put that class plan at the beginning. We're going to revise that again too, okay? And again, classes can be up to 2 hours long. So if you have what you feel like is too many slides, even after we edit it, it's because we don't want to take them out this semester. We really are aware of the issue, but we don't want to take them out because they explain things in a way that is going to be helpful. Sometimes teachers made the comment that you need to put more stuff together in one slide. It doesn't matter if there's 5 slides to explain one grammar point, or you have 1 slide and it's all there. The point is you have to say these things, you have to do these things, you have to explain these things. And so my tendency is to put them on separate slides, one by one by one. Okay, just it keeps it cleaner than having 1 slide full of stuff. Okay. We want to change the slides. Do you remember this moment where everyone is like, especially in the beginning, we want to change the slides. We want to put our own personality and stuff. And so I did a video If you didn't watch the video, go back and watch the video because it does explain the issues that are at hand. Go watch this Can I Change the Slides video. There are permissions issues. Okay, basically, if you go and get Google Images, yes, you're going to get pictures of Anita. Yes, you're going to get pictures of the BBB people doing whatever. You're going to get pictures of whatever you want on Google Images, but you're also going to get lawyers coming after you sometimes for using images that are illegal. So we used legal images. And so, okay, go watch the video. I explain it in better detail. Parsnip. There are things that textbooks don't talk about because we want to sell books around the world and we want to sell books to all of the families, even within Brazil, where things are a little bit looser. You still have very liberal families and very conservative families. So things that we don't talk about are parsnip: politics, alcohol, religion, sex, narcotics, isms, and pork. You won't find those in our books for the most part. So go online, watch that video, and it'll explain that in detail if you're worried about it. CPM branding, we have slides that are a certain way, certain color schemes. The CPM logo is in a certain place. We want to keep it that way. Not everybody wants that. Consistent and solid methodology. There she goes again with the teacher's book. But we presented the slides in a way that we felt was as clear as possible. Okay. So if you want to change the slides, are you doing something that is as clear as possible? Is it as good as what we did? If in fact you still want to change the slides, we do welcome new ideas. We're not jerks about this. We welcome new ideas, truly. But if you have a new idea that is perfect for your turma, it's going to be perfect for everybody. Okay, we want everybody to get the same chance to have the same learning. And so get in touch with me. I have great ideas, Sue. You should do this in this slide, in this area, in this class. Okay, let me know. Let's talk about it. I'd love new ideas. Let's hear it. So, by the way, about changing the slides, one of the things was we want to add our own personality. And I know the slides are kind of vanilla ice cream sometimes. It's because of the image issues, right? And the parsnips and everything else about not making anybody upset or offensive. You want to add your own thing, but the book content was never the full story of CPM. So whatever you did in the class, you were teaching from a book in an aula presencial. That's not the full story. Your full personality came out anyway, right? Even though you were following the material. And I still see it the same way, even if we have these online slides. Your personality will come out and your partner's personality will come out. Talk about, make the slides relatable to you. So ask them, go off of the slides. Now you have 2 hours, go off of the slides a little bit and talk about what's in that image, or, give other examples, other things that your students can relate to, but there's going to be permissions issue if you put them into the slides. But feel free to put I don't want to take your personality out. That is what CPM is you and your personality and the way you teach, but we're following methodology, we're following slides, we're following certain rules so we don't get in legal trouble and all of these things. But within that, you're you and be you. I want you to be you. Really, I'm not here to, nobody at CPM wants to cut you down and to make your classes like robotic. We do not want that. So, okay. Some people said that the tests were not an accurate reflection of student learning. I agree. I totally agree. When you say, what did you eat for breakfast? And they say, I ate this, is one kind of answer. Another kind of answer is they choose eggs, they choose French fries, they choose coffee, they choose whatever they had for breakfast. It's easier when you can choose, submit. Okay, it's not as much of an accurate reflection of student learning, but that's what we have right now. And so for that reason, we have oral tests, and everybody will be using oral tests this semester. And what I saw at João 23 is that students would do really well on the written test. Ooh, good grade, really good, really proud of them. And when we started the oral test, you would see sometimes, not always, but you see a huge difference between what they did in the test that they could not do when we were talking to them during the oral test. So the oral test is a much better reflection of how much students really learned. And so I'm glad that we have both of those things in place right now. Finally, people complain that we prefer classes the old way together. Well, yeah, I do too. Everybody does. This is what everybody wants. Everybody wants to be together. Everybody wants to touch each other. Everybody wants to hug each other. I want to. I look at this picture from Monte Azul from Hafa's collection, and I want to grab everybody in that picture and hug them. You know, I miss that. I miss being together with students. I miss being together with teachers. I miss all of the administrative staff, all of the very, very cool people that we work with every Saturday. I miss it. We want to be together, and we will be again as soon as possible. So this is the end of my presentation, and I hope I've hit on most of the points. We have exactly 5 minutes and 30 seconds, if I were to have 40 minutes, which I did, to ask a few questions. So we're gonna see each other online, and we're gonna arrange it so that I can hear a few questions, if indeed there were any.
Obrigado, Su. That was
Sure.
great, as always. We have a few thoughts and questions. The first one is your thought on flipped classes after we get back to normal or physical classes, however you'd like to say it. So what do you think about it? If you should implement this or not? This was one, and with a caveat
I'll
here
answer
that
that.
this will be also discussed between the board of the
Yeah.
CPM and the strategy, but just gathering some of your thoughts around this topic.
My thoughts? My thoughts are that, yeah, let's keep doing it. It worked. And like I said, it's good for students, and it's good for students because they're learning to take responsibility for their learning. And it also frees up class time for other things. So if you and it gives them this very cool, like these Brazilian bloggers or YouTubers that do these amazing grammar videos. It gives students another chance to see so many of the things that they're going to see. And like I said, I think it was the Novatos training, they need to see things 4 or 5 times before they really learn it. You think you learned it. You think, oh, I understood that. Okay, I got it. And then the curve goes like that. Me too, everybody, forgetting things, okay? Thais explains 10,000 things to me every week, and then I immediately go, I forgot everything she told me. What did we say? So it's always like that. So if they can see the vocabulary in advance, if they can see the grammar in advance, and then they can do something with it in the form, and then they go to the class and they see it again, and they do a review, and then they see it again fresh, and then they have homework. That's 5 or 6 times that they've seen the same thing. And hopefully that reinforces the learning. I would love to continue with tests. No. I would love to continue with homework and pre-class, even when we are presential, which gives us more time in the classroom to do more interesting things. Okay.
Yeah, that's great input. I tend to agree as a teacher. I think it really, it's good. This repetitive effort it's always a good thing. We have other questions related to homework. For example, maybe you could have a sample response for open-ended questions. I think it would help. What do you think about it?
I agree. I'm going to try. We have a lot of homework that we're putting together right now. Jose is doing the stuff that is automated. And then as soon as all of this training is done, I'm going to enter into the pedagogical side of the actual slides, and I'm going to start looking at those forms. And where possible, it's a very good idea, is just to give them a sample, a beginning or expected response is what we might call it.
Yeah, great. And around pre-class, we also have questions on if the students will be able to see the answers to the pre-class, and basically that if they see the answers, if you have correct answers for the pre-class, how that should be structured, or if it's just more like get acquainted to the material, you know.
Okay, we're going to start by doing the homework because it's a lot of work to put those answers in there. There's it's 12 forms with a bunch of questions every week, in addition to the new slides that we're doing. It's a lot of time just to do the homework. And we had agreed as an administrative team not to do it with the pre-class. But a part of me wants to. It's a question of time. If we can get the time to do it, if there's a volunteer out there who wants to be the pre-class queen or king, let me know, and I'll give you that job for sure, and we will have it. Otherwise, if you leave it up to me and my team, we might not. I'm going to try, okay, and we can let you know later on. But if you want to do it, let me know.
Yeah, that's good. We're also looking for volunteers, right, to take up these roles, you know, because there's been a lot of work for the team. That's for sure. Another question here. I think that this is a bit more tech, but I'm not sure if you have even discussed this. If we can have access to more interactive tools on Google Meet for the classes, I think, like Q&A and things like that. Have you discussed this with our tech team, or
Q&A,
maybe we should just?
Well, you mean during class?
Yeah, for Google Meet. If you can, we can have other type of interactive tools that are available.
Okay, maybe like going into pair work and separate breakout rooms and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and what is in our plan, you know, in terms of usage, and it's perfectly fine if no answer for now. It's just that I'm not aware if you had any discussion of that with our tech team, and if there's any reason for not adopting some of the interactive tools. I don't recall this.
I recall that last semester, when at this same point last semester, we were all terrified, and we didn't know if this was going to be, if anything was going to work, and if teachers would adapt, if we could get the material. So we didn't know. And so last semester we said, getting online classes out there is good enough. Separating and teaching students how to break into breakout rooms and stuff, I still personally don't believe that it's necessary. I think we do okay as is without that added layer of complexity. And Google Classroom wasn't as easy as Zoom as far as doing that also. Luciani had looked into it, and there's a way to do it, but it requires a lot of kind of gambayada and stuff. And so maybe it's changed now. We can talk about it, but I don't think it's necessary. Me.
Yeah, that's fair. One other that we had here is around oral tests and the grading of oral tests. That I think it was Felipe who sent that. In my opinion, the oral tests should have a bigger weight in the final grade instead of the written test. So just wanted to see your reactions around it, and what do you think about the weighting of the oral test and how it's done, and so on and so forth.
That's an interesting point. We had agreed, I think it has 25% weight. I can't remember off the top of my head what weight we need to talk about it as a team with the pedagogical coordinators, with the DUs, with everybody. It's a good thing to think about, because it is a more accurate reflection of what the student is really doing.
Right. Yeah, this is good. I agree. Another one, and I think this is a really good one. Flipped classes work for any level. How would it work for an A class? You know,
well, they do work.
And how it works and why it works. But can you provide a bit of the rationale, like why a beginner student is also able to prepare and everything? Because I think it's a lot to do with the repetition itself and to getting to see the material, but wanted to hear your thoughts about this.
It's just that anything that we can do with the student before the teacher needs to intervene, the student can do. For example, listen to a video with the alphabet. That's definitely Turma A. Listen to the alphabet. Listen to it 15 times until you really learn those letters. Now listen to a different thing. It's for little children, for 3-year-olds. Listen to it and actually learn the alphabet. It's that kind of thing. Listen to a conversation. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Anything they can hear and practice and do over and over again, it works for everybody. It doesn't have to be the Kennedy assassination. It's the alphabet. It's nice to meet you. It's hi, how are you? I'm fine. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. Hi, how are you? I'm great. Whoop, big change there. So it's anything that anybody can do at all levels that they can do without the teacher support, and watching videos with Brazilian YouTubers, you know, explaining o verbo to be in Portuguese is going to help, because in our classrooms, we try not to speak Portuguese. So it's going to help. I think it works for everybody.
Yeah, that's great.
We did it last semester. We just didn't put a name on it. Now we have a name on it.
No, I agree to that. I mean, I wasn't teaching for Turma A, so I don't know how the dynamics were for those classes, if it was harder or not. But if you get feedback from the teachers and totally agree that it should be aligned on what they should be capable of doing at that stage, right, in terms of language and so on. There's another one here that I think it's interesting. Maybe we should correct the pre-class during the 2-hour class time. Reactions around that. I personally tend to not correct the pre-class. I just, like, whenever I'm teaching, I run a brief discussion around the main idea of the pre-class, and we go through some of the topics, but I usually don't like outline everything, because I think that this should be an effort before class. But again, wanted to hear your reactions around that.
Well, it is exactly that if the student knows that when we get to the class, and we do it anyway, because we want them to see it again. We do a faster review of the pre-class material before we start the main class, but it is not to substitute the pre-class. It is for them to review it again. It's the third time they see the thing out of the 5 that they need to see it to learn it. I'm not a big fan of grade grubbing, of getting the answers. I got to get the answer. I got to get the answer right. I want you to think. I want you to try. I want you to worry. I want you to write down, I didn't understand it. I'm going to write this question down and ask it in class. I want them to make that effort instead of click, got it right, woo, click, got it wrong, woo. The little bit of effort taken to put into that and remember to ask the question is valid. Again, a lot of work into putting the pre-class together with the answers. So we can see about that. But yeah. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, no, I think so. Yes, because I tend to I have the same thought that we can talk about the general idea of the pre-class and try to elaborate stuff and get the students to bring the inputs. But again, I was thinking, I'm in H level now, they're going to I, so they're a bit more advanced, but I think that this should apply to all levels in general. And you even see like the students that are really interested and get to you and try to make the discussions and everything. So it's good for that as well. I think we're done in terms
of students who are motivated and care a lot.
Yeah.
All the level test students who do the minimum and want to get in and out and be done. So we got to
like our regular classes that we attended, like college, like masters, like whatever we did also, right? Any group of individuals. No, that's true. So I think that we are done in terms of the questions. I'll ask now the guys to get back and I'll switch to Portuguese so we can close. Pessoal, acho que vamos começar a abrir os vídeos, né? A Thaís já tá aí. Oi, tá. Lucas também. Ó, o Lucas aí. Lucas tá no fundo do The Office? É, né? Tá de Michael Scott aí do The Office, Lucas.
Contra esse fundo.
Muito bom. Gabi também, Karine. Tem um lembrete final, né, Ká, que você queria passar?
Sim, não esqueçam, pessoal, do conteúdo online. Tem muita coisa nova, muito material para complementar esse nosso encontro de hoje. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. De resto, eu vi ali no chat que foi só elogios, viu? Muitos elogios para a Su. E eu estendo os elogios aí para a equipe que realizou esse treinamento, que, enfim, desde o treinamento dos novatos até o de agora, que foi muito legal. Parabéns, pessoal. E é isso aí. Acho que a gente pode encerrar com o nosso We Love Cidadão Pró-Mundo virtual.
Vamos embora. Obrigado a todo mundo aí de participar. In the count. 1, 2, 3.
We love Cidadão Pró-Mundo. Bye, bye, guys.
Muito obrigado, pessoal. Ótimo semestre para todos.
Obrigada, gente.
Tchau, tchau.
Bye.